so much for joining me on the Creative Awakening Now podcast. I'm your host, David Matters, and I'm here to bring you stories, interviews, and insights relating to the topics of creativity, inspiration, and practice. My intention is to connect with other people who employ a heart-centered approach to the artistic process and to share this profoundly inspiring content with anyone who cares to hear it. I hope you enjoy. My guest this week was Johnny Matters. It's been 10 years since Johnny decided to move to Erie for the explicit purpose of tattooing. In his 13 years of working as an artist, he's done work at tattoo shops like Bay City, Karma, and Midtown before finally opening Wayward Tattoo Studios with his business partner, Corey Thompson, in September 2013. The studio was so successful that they opened a second location in 2016. A self-taught artist, Johnny is not only proud of the numerous publications he's appeared in and competitions he's won, but also the charitable work attributed to the studio. An annual fundraiser by the name of Toys for Tats allows patrons to donate children's toys or pet food in exchange for a small tattoo design. Last year, Wayward received over 200 donations, with all proceeds benefiting the Arc of Erie County and the Anna Shelter. And beyond that, I happen to know Johnny quite well. He is, in fact, my older brother, and I gotta say, I don't want to hate on this write-up because he got this for this really cool publication he did in Erie, Pennsylvania. But Johnny, you need a new bio, bro. You got so much more going on for you, and I'm gonna try and write it for him. So that's my mission here. Johnny's done all kinds of cool things, and obviously being a successful tattoo artist and a business owner, or being part of that. But I know he's done a lot more than that, and he's got a lot going on. So I want to share that with the world. But yeah, our interview was really awesome. He just got awarded with this thing up in Erie, Pennsylvania, where he lives, and it's called 40 Under 40, where 40 people in the community were selected who are under 40 years of age who are doing great things for the community. And he was accepted for that, and they had this nice write-up and thing about him in the Erie Times or something like that, the newspaper up there. And that's where we grew up. That's where he still lives. That's where his shop is, Erie, Pennsylvania. And I'm really proud of him. He's doing really cool stuff, and his art is just getting better and better as the years go by. It's awesome to see it, and the success of his shop, him and Corey, his business partner, and all the awesome artists up there. It's really cool stuff. So I wanted to bring him on the show and talk about his art and his process and all that, but also being a business owner and making a living off of art is a rare thing, and I wanted to bring attention to that in this show, and that's largely what we focused on. So yeah, I'm excited to share this with you guys, and I hope you check out his work on their website, and they got a Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, and I'll put the links up. You can check it out. But yeah, it's Wayward Tattoo Studios up in Erie, Pennsylvania. And yeah, this is a fun interview. It's cool. It's definitely different interviewing your family. It's a different kind of thing altogether, and it was enjoyable. It's very low pressure. It's like didn't have any problem with asking questions or keeping the dialogue going. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a good conversation, and he's got a lot of insight. He's been doing art for as long as I can remember. Growing up as kids in the house, he was always doodling and drawing different things and sketching and painting and doing cool stuff like that. So yeah, he's got a lot of history under his belt and a lot to share. And as always, I want to put it out there. If you guys want to check out my work with creativeawakeningnow.com, you can go to the website. You can read my blog posts and listen to my music from my band Life Like Water. You can sign up for the mailing list and get my free ebook. It's a short little ebook about my travels in Peru and some creative kind of realizations that I had through that whole plant medicine experience. And stay on the lookout for other things I got going on and other podcasts coming up, because I got a lot of great stuff in the works. And if you guys want to help out the podcast, I always say this, and I really hope people take it into consideration because it is actually incredibly helpful. Go into iTunes, leave a rating, leave a review, subscribe to the podcast, leave some feedback, let other people know what you think about it. It's a work in progress, but the episodes that I've been doing with the guests that I've had have been awesome, and I feel like there's some really great content to share, so I want to spread that around And really the only way to do that is with other people's help and getting it up there in rankings and stuff. So please do that. And I just got the podcast added to a couple different places. It's on Stitcher. It's on iHeartRadio. I'm hopefully going to be getting it up on YouTube very soon here. I'm trying to get it everywhere I can so people can access it without having to have a specific, the iTunes app is the biggest thing out there, but not everyone has an iPhone. Not everyone uses it. So I want it to be accessible to everyone. So be on the lookout. Bringing it out. Bringing it to you live. It's not actually live, pre-recorded, but you know what I mean. But yeah, just stay tuned. That's what I'm trying to say here. Love you guys. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, Johnny, for being here with me today. Welcome to the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And well, obviously, we've had history. Our connections go back to about the moment of my birth.
Yeah, we know a little about each other already.
More or less, yeah. So maybe I know your story, obviously, but I would love for you to share your story with everyone else. Basically, like how you got into art. Obviously, you're a successful tattoo artist and a business owner, but it started from much simpler roots. And I remember those days. I remember that you sitting there drawing pictures in the bedroom and stuff. So maybe if you could just kind of talk about what really inspired you to be an artist and how that kind of evolved for you as well.
Yeah, it definitely started for me very young. I can always remember drawing ever since I was a little kid, as long as I can remember. It was almost kind of just my release, kind of my way to, get out of my own head or get into my own head, whatever I'm trying to do. Yeah, as long as I can remember, I've just always been doodling, recreating artwork. I'd always get books out of the library and stuff like that and just draw the pictures. I was just always kind of into it and I didn't really know why. Like, that's just something I did, and then it kind of became more serious as I went on. Never really took too many art classes in high school. I did go to college for a year for art education, but kind of decided that wasn't really me. And right around the same time as when I started tattooing, really, painting also. So it's always just been originally something I did just kind of for myself, and it kind of gradually became a passion and a living now.
What were your initial sources of inspiration? Stylistically and stuff. I can remember some of the things that you were drawing and being, where is this coming from? What space inside you is kind of bringing these things forth, and how did that affect you?
Yeah, it originally started with pretty much just recreating artwork, comic books, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much just recreating art for a start, and then after that, just kind of created my own style. I've always been a little bit more of an illustrative kind of style, almost comic booky in some way. And then once I started tattooing, that really changed my style and really made me a real artist. It was always just kind of doodling and kind of doing it for fun. I really didn't truly become an artist with it and really make it a passion until I started doing it for a living, really. But yeah, I just kind of fell into it, really, the whole thing, art and tattooing.
Yeah.
Something I was interested in, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah, I always have these questions with people. I'm trying to find the source of inspiration or source of where things start. And for me too, musically, it's always an interesting thing to trace it back and to look at the roots of how you got into that and what makes you passionate enough to pursue something. Because to be good at something, just to be good at it, you have to put in hours and hours and hours. But to pursue it as a living, that's a whole different thing. It's a drive that it goes beyond what most people understand.
Yeah, for sure. And they're definitely two completely separate things. Like, when you just do it for fun, you just kind of do it to do it. And when you do make it a career and a job, I still do love what I do and everything, but it also brings a little bit more of that day-to-day job into it too, with the headaches and the kind of frustrations of it a lot of times. But I still do love doing what I do. Yeah, it's just, like you said, it just kind of happened. Something I always knew I was passionate about, something I knew I was always going to do, as far as art-wise in general. And when it became a career, it was just kind of right place, right time. I did put in a lot of work for it to be able to get into the industry, but it kind of was just really becoming mainstream and popular to where it could actually be considered a real living and something that's actually, a respected career now in some ways.
Yeah, for sure. And for a lot of people who don't know the connections with tattoo and art, like maybe you could just, how does it translate? Like, do you like painting versus tattooing, or using a pencil or color pencils or something like that? And like I can't imagine somebody doing like watercolor quite the same, if they're trying to translate into tattooing as some of the stuff that you initially did.
Yeah, it's all just an approach, really, because, nowadays especially, people can tattoo in all different styles in any different ways, but it definitely is a different translation of how you apply it, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just like tattooing or any kind of art in general, you take little pieces of watercolor painting or drawing and illustrative marker, pencil drawings, stuff like that, and you can kind of they're not the same, but you can incorporate little techniques of here and there to bring it into your own thing, really.
Yeah.
Same with any kind of styles, like, all artists have different styles. I work with a lot of different people, and I have over the years, and you take little bits and pieces of, well, how do you pull that line like that, or how do you do that shade like that? I don't necessarily tattoo like that or want to, but I can take little pieces of it and kind of make it my own. I think that's how we all kind of create our own style, and we all feed off of each other as artists, musicians, anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that that's having a source of your initial kind of foot in the door is, you meet somebody along the way, or you find an artist that you appreciate along the way. And I know for your initial roots, we had a similar experience with our local tattoo artist in our small town. The small town of Corey, Pennsylvania. It was like the only tattoo shop around, and we were all just totally enamored by what he was doing, and you especially. Maybe you could kind of tell that story as well, and how that kind of brought you in.
Yeah, definitely. Our old artist in the town we came from, his name was Daryl. You got tattooed by him a lot when you were a kid, and so did I. He kind of always knew I was an artist, just because we would talk about it when I was in there. I'd always bring him stuff, like, just kind of show, oh, look what I did and stuff like that, because I looked up to him as what he did. And he got that, and kind of eventually me going there and getting tattooed so many times, and you as well, pretty much a lot of our friends, he pretty much just approached me more so, like, you seem like you'd be interested in something like this. Is this anything you'd ever want to do? And I told him, yeah, of course, I've always been interested in kind of getting into it, and even then wasn't serious about making it a career choice, just something I was really interested in learning how to do. So he kind of sold me like a little startup kit, kind of helped me out, sold me some inks and needles and machines, and he also was really cool because he would clean my stuff for me, sanitize them, put them in the autoclaves and stuff for me as far as the tubes and stuff like that. He was a one-man kind of shop. He wasn't too interested in apprenticing anyone or really too deep into his career at this point, but he did help me out a lot, so I didn't get an apprenticeship through him, but he kind of guided me through it a little bit, and at least gave me my first equipment and got my foot in the door, which I still thankful for that to this day, because he definitely did get my foot in the door. So
yeah, I remember just going into his shop when we were like, I don't know, 16, I think was the first time I went in there, and back then it wasn't quite as insane as it is now with popularity. And
just a dirty old room with a bunch of flash tacked on the wall with paint with tacks.
That's right. Yeah, just a bunch of little shots, and they're like, oh, I want that, and that's how people came in, and they like picked out a piece and he'd slap it on you.
Yeah, I got a few of them on me.
Yeah, me too. Most of us do, and it's funny because back in the day when we were first getting tattooed, and it's not like it's that long ago that it was considered what it used to be. There's a whole kind of negative attachment to it for the longest time about either gangs or criminals, prison tattoos, whatever. But even still, in the small town in Corey, Pennsylvania, kids rolling around looking at tattoos like that, that was the dangerous place to go. That was the bad stuff in town.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember. It wasn't that long ago. I started about 13 years ago, and even then, I mean, I thought I was the coolest as I had a tattoo when I was 17 years old, and yeah, it wasn't the norm. It wasn't like, disgraceful or anything crazy like it used to be, but it still, wasn't as popular and as normal to see people, and young people especially, with tattoos just exposed on their body.
Yeah, it was questionable at best. And obviously our parents included, all the adults and stuff were not exactly enthusiastic about it, but
no, they weren't exactly happy about it. No.
But yeah, that's how it starts. I love the fact that, you know, we started out. You and I got tattooed. I got my first one when I was 17, and you know, all our friends started getting them slowly, and it was still like, I remember our parents being like, no more. You're done until you leave the house.
Enough.
Yeah. And then you were secretly tattooing me in my bedroom, and, you know, tattooing our friends, and, you know, they would find out and get pissed. But down the line, you've tattooed almost everyone in our family. You've tattooed every single one of our friends, all their relatives, you know, anyone who comes into town, all the people that I've lived with, you've come and stayed with, you know, like, your mark is on everyone now.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about it. I do have my mark on, you know, all over the place, all over the country, and beyond that.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. That's why I love, you're the second tattoo artist I brought on, and obviously I wanted to bring you on for a number of reasons, the connections of family and doing it as a business and stuff like that, but also just because I think it's a really awesome form of art that it's getting more and more popular, but, you know, people don't talk about it as much as in the sense of like real genuine art and something that's inspiring. And I think it's something I've watched evolve for you as a practice, you know, your style, your approach, you know, the different ways that you go about it, and also your success as a business person. And like how maybe you can kind of share that, like, how do you have any kind of process that you can recall in your mind as far as like your style evolving and your abilities evolving?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a long process for sure. As you know, you've got evidence of my bad early work all over.
Yeah, I do.
And a lot of my friends do as well. Yeah, it takes a long time to learn, and especially back then, like I said, I wasn't ever an apprentice. I didn't have a formal apprenticeship. It wasn't as popular, and there's not as many shops as there was when I started, so it was really hard to get an apprenticeship. Really, no one would even, there wasn't enough apprenticeships out there for anyone to even give me the time of day or even look at my work. And it was just something I always really was interested in, so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll do it myself. Like, I don't need anybody else to show me how. So, you know, of course, at the beginning, you think you're great. You get this equipment, and you do the first couple tattoos, and you're like, wow, I'm good. And then after, as you keep going, you realize, wow, I'm really not good. Like, this is bad. But you definitely mangle some people at first, especially if you don't have a formal apprenticeship. Like someone, I mean, I've never even seen a tattoo machine actually set up the first time I picked up one and tattooed somebody. So it was definitely a process. A good 5-6 years or so before I really created any kind of style, or any kind of, a style of my own. I know when I first started kind of feeling like I was starting to create my own style, I was a lot of color work. I did mostly, people came to me for bright color work and stuff like that, which is cool because it's evolved now to where I do a lot more black and gray work is really what people come to me for. I still do a lot, and I'm kind of one of them artists that, I work mostly in neo-traditionalism, Japanese, and I do some black and gray realism, stuff like that. So I'm kind of all over the place a little bit. I enjoy lots of different forms of the approach in the art. I'm not just focused on one area, which, isn't the greatest all the times for, other reasons to not focus on one area. You can probably progress a little bit more in that, but I enjoy all aspects of it. And I think that that's a lot of what tattooing is. I mean, people are coming in for, they want your work and your art, but it's their tattoo, it's their design, it's their idea. You kind of got to work with them. So you kind of do have to be a little versatile, I think, in this industry.
Yeah.
And it definitely has just, evolved over the years. I mean, I feel like I haven't really just started finding my own real style and hitting my stride a little bit within the last just few years. Like, and I'm sure 10 years down the road I'll say that again. It's hard to say, but I mean, you can definitely, it's cool having a portfolio and everything too, to be able to look back. I try to keep all my stuff and all my line drawings too over the years, so I can look back and then you really see your progression. Like, oh wow, like I remember doing that. I remember I thought that was the coolest flower I've ever done, and now I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's not that great. But that's a good way to grow, though. I mean, you gotta keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when you started, wait, so you were 20 when you first?
Yeah, I just turned 20.
Okay, yeah, you were 20 years old, and you're 33 now, which is
Yeah.
not a huge whole, it's not that much time, really, in a specific
Right.
art like tattooing, and you've made it very clear to me a number of times, it's like, even if you draw, which I don't draw, but I have picked up a tattoo gun, and it's a very different kind of thing. Like, you can be the greatest artist in the world with a pencil or a paintbrush, but translating that to a tattoo gun is a whole other avenue. And
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a totally different thing. I mean, it's not like any other pencil or pen or brush you've ever picked up before. It's a moving, vibrating, loud, heavy machine that's going all over the place while you're tattooing on a canvas that's also moving all over the place.
yeah,
So
drawing blood.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely have said that before. I mean, there's definitely been new advancements to where the learning curve has been cut a little bit from where I started with the old clunky coil traditional machines that weighed like a pound. But yeah, not just because you're a good artist doesn't mean you could do this. Like learning that, but then even more so, the dealing with the people. Like you're selling yourself as much as you're selling your artwork in a lot of ways. Like people come to me for my work and they like my custom work, but I say it all the time. At least close to half the people that come to me on a regular basis, like they come to me because they like me. Like you're selling yourself as much as you're selling your products. Like you definitely have to be a somewhat social and somewhat of a people person to really be able to handle doing this and dealing with so many personalities day to day to day to day to day.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's definitely got a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really interesting thing because, at least visual art is not exactly like a sociable thing traditionally. Like a lot of times it's associated with people who are kind of reclusive and who, hide away and do all this work, and then, they emerge with their paintings or whatever it is, and then people get to see it. But as a tattoo artist, you are one-on-one with the person that you're, putting that piece on, and they are just as much a part of that whole story as you are. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're putting it on them, and I mean, it's not like any other kind of art. Most you sit down, especially a visual or a graphic art or anything like that, like drawing or painting. You're doing whatever you want. You're doing you. With tattooing, you kind of get to that point eventually where once you've been doing it for a while, people appreciate your style. A lot of people will come to me and just be like, I just want a Johnny Matters piece. Like, whatever you want to do, or they'll pick out from my drawings. But that's not always the case. A lot of times you're dealing with people who like, I want this. Well, I would never draw something like that, but now I have to because that's what you want. Like,
yeah.
Don't want to put my style on it, but this isn't necessarily something I would ever have thought to do on my own. Like,
yeah, that's cool. It's kind of like, you have to improvise, just on the fly.
It's frustrating, but also rewarding a lot of times. Like, sometimes people come to me with ideas, and I'm just like, damn, that sucks. I do not want to do that.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people come to me with an idea that I would have never thought of, and I was like, wow, I think I could make that really cool. And like, some of my favorite pieces have come like that, where it wasn't even my idea, but someone threw something at me that was a really fun idea that I got to run with.
Yeah. Well, what is your favorite style, or I guess style maybe isn't the right word, but your favorite kind of stuff that you like to do?
Probably my favorite as far as actually tattooing is the Japanese style, just because it's probably the most fun for me. It's like the most enjoyable to do. I just like most of my work is, I focus on a lot of heavy contrast and stuff like that, and I like that about like the Japanese work. It's like traditionally really dark backgrounds with very bright foregrounds and colors on the images to kind of just high contrast, making a bunch of like different levels and just making it really dynamic. Like, and I just enjoy working in the I don't know, just the imagery, the waves, the clouds. I like doing those kind of backgrounds. They flow really well, and just the imagery of the actual images themselves. I like the creatures and the stories of like the Japanese folklores and tales and all. There's so many awesome images in that genre.
Yeah.
It's cool to even discover some of them sometimes because there's so many. Like you're looking to is like, oh, I don't even know what that is. I've never seen that creature before, but there's a whole story that goes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. It's almost like it's like anthropology in a way when you start studying it deep enough and you have to learn the culture. I mean, you don't have to maybe, but if you want to understand what it is.
You do, yeah. You'll kind of know. I don't know. It does. Having that story does, in some way, almost show you the proper way to how to set that up, or what would make sense in that. Like, depending on how deep you want to get into it. I mean, a lot of people, the Japanese, and I talk to a lot of people, that's all they do, and they'll straight tell you like, oh, koi fish you don't do with cherry blossoms or anything like that because they only go upstream in the spring or in the fall, and it's like, well, if you want to get that in depth, then yeah, like traditionally, oh, that picture is not correct.
Yeah, yeah.
I just like the imagery mostly, and I do like the stories. I don't take it that literal, so
yeah.
Like this creature doesn't have to be with this creature with these blossoms of this season or anything like that, but I do appreciate the storylines with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorite things about tattooing and the whole culture of it, because it's, if you trace it back, the origins and then the evolution of it and the process of it coming over to different areas of the world is so interesting. And the American tradition in itself is interesting because of how it came about. Maybe you could share a little bit about that, for what you know. Don't go crazy with it, but as far as like the origin, where it started, possibly where it started, and how it kind of got to where it is now, and it's in the hands of crazy people.
As far as the American style of it is what is really a popular style right now. People call it American traditional tattooing, American traditional style, traditionalists. It really started originating in America and be kind of doing that style around the, I'd say, 30s or so. It really progressed during like World War II and stuff like that, with all the sailors and the ports around the world and stuff like that. I know Hawaii was a really big area, Pearl Harbor, a lot of ports in there. There's a lot of famous tattoo artists, which I'm sure everybody's heard of, Sailor Jerry. He's from that era in Hawaii. There was also a lot of people before him too in the same area. I'd say right around the 30s is when that American traditional tattooing started really becoming popular. And that style now is still it's made a big comeback. Like nowadays, like the traditional style is a very popular style nowadays. It's made like a reemergence almost.
Yeah.
Just most of those are just really simple kind of cartoony designs. A lot of them are again storytelling. Like I said, a lot of them come from the Army and Navy, so there's like a lot of the traditional anchors and sailor tattoos like that, and flowers and nautical stars and different stories and stuff like that. Like it's a lot from like we were talking about with the Japanese traditions. A lot of them come from stories and imagery and folklore that become meaningful pieces that you see that are popular on flash pages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Me and one of my coworkers were just talking about it because we couldn't even remember exactly what it was about the chickens and the pigs for like a really popular Navy one, because the Navy's the sailors would say, if a ship goes down, I was always going to be floating in the water after the map of chickens and pigs. So so they get those so they would float when the ship goes down.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Different stories like that.
Yeah. Do you know of any others? Like, I'm really curious about like the indigenous original form of tattooing with the tapping and the different things. Like Japan had its own kind of style, whereas like Polynesia had its own style. And do you know much about that?
Honestly, not too much. As far as different time frames and stuff like that. Really, no one knows how far back tattooing actually goes. Some of the earliest remains had tattoos on them, so no one really knows exactly where it came from or how old it is. A lot of that traditional style, tatau and tabori and stuff like that, Japanese sticking styles. They've been around a lot longer than the American traditional tattooing styles. That's for sure. A lot of those originally, Hawaiian Islands, Polynesia, stuff like that, Australia, a lot of those areas. Japan, of course, has always been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah, the origins of it. It's so fascinating because it goes back so far, and because tattooing has always been, it's had a relevance and an importance in people's lives far before people started getting tramp stamps and like little hearts with names in them and stuff. And I find that really interesting.
Yeah, that's why that kind of style is cool, because a lot of those with the tapping styles, the design-based styles like that, they are just for a story, or they have a specific meaning. Like, you're not getting it just to have a pretty picture on you. You're getting it for a specific meaning. It's a story, or you've earned it in some way, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or family symbols, or really meaningful symbols that almost are markings for you that you've earned or to identify. Like, it's definitely not exactly like that anymore. It's definitely more of a, I mean, some people definitely get them for deep-rooted meanings, but definitely more of a decoration kind of expressing yourself kind of thing now.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Which, it evolves, and that's just how it goes. Things have different meaning for different people, and we're not exactly out like killing wild boars to bring back to the village and bringing honor with it. It's
yeah. We just don't have as many stories nowadays, I guess.
It's still I still stand by it. I think that like tattooing, piercing, all those things in like the freak culture were always kind of a rite of passage for, especially for younger people. When you get into it.
Appreciate that, yeah.
So there's something about the pain and sitting through it, and maybe it's just like our masculine ego needing to be fulfilled in some way, but I still think it has relevance in our world where like it's just like gangs and prison tattoos and stuff. It's something that kind of sets you apart and gives you community.
Yeah, it definitely does, and they do still hold stories too. I know for me, a lot of mine, I get that question all the time because I'm covered in tattoos. What do those mean? Like, well, for one, you gotta be kidding me. These can't all mean something. And they do though, because it's not necessarily. I mean, some of my pieces I have definitely do have meaning to me, but a lot of them are more of like a meaning of the time. Like every tattoo, almost every one on me, I look at them, I can at least remember the experience of when I got that done and where I was at that point in my life, like why I got that, or when I got that, or who I got it by. Because a lot of times now I get pieces. I've got, I'm running out of space. I got very little canvas left, so I don't want to waste, even if it's someone. I get most of my tattoos now by people that I know, because I know a lot of people in the industry, that I want their work. I want their mark on me. Like, not necessarily what exactly the image is. Like, I want a piece from you.
Yeah.
Like, because I've got precious little space left now that I'm realizing, like, that's what's important to me, at least.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone, and it does still tell a story. Not everyone's like that, of course, but.
Yeah. Well, that's all. I'm honored, honestly, because you allowed me to mark you a couple times now.
Yeah, you did. You gave me you and our other brother gave me a beautiful one last time you were in town.
Yeah, we did. I did our brother Ryan did a T-Rex in honor of his son, and I did a unicorn vomiting a rainbow on the T-Rex's head in honor of my daughter. So.
Oh, it's beautiful. I wish you had video on here. I'd show it off.
I know, me too. Maybe I'll try and share a picture somehow.
There you go. I'll send you one.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's cool stuff. It's the origins of it, the interest of it, and the inspiration behind any artist. I always find really fascinating, and I like to dig into that stuff before worrying about anything else. But I do want to kind of move into the business of it, and like how you were just honored with being chosen for the Erie, Pennsylvania 40 under 40 thing, which is, as I understand it, they choose 40 people from the community who are under 40 years of age that are doing great things in the community to build it up and to allow it to kind of bring life into it, because Erie's not exactly a thriving place. It's doing better and better, but it's always had hard times. But yeah, that kind of stuff is really cool when you are using your gift and using creativity to fuel that and to make a living off of it. And I'd love to hear the story about how you finally transitioned out of, you worked at multiple tattoo shops and all these things, but how you finally transitioned out into starting your own business and what that's looked like as an independent business owner.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole different story there. I mean, I've definitely focused more on the business end more in the last 4 or 5 years or so. I mean, I definitely tattoo 5 days a week still, all the time at least, so I tattoo a lot. It kind of just, I worked at, like you said, from the beginning, I started working at houses and kitchens, and whoever would let me tattoo off their gross chair in their living room, whoever would let me tattoo. And then, I kind of went through a bunch of different shops for a while. I know the last shop I was there for probably 3 years or so, and me and the owner also, we started another business together, a small concert venue, and we kind of started butting heads after that, and we were good friends at the time, and just kind of really started butting heads and realized that I couldn't be partners with him. That translated into the tattoo shop. Long story short, it got kind of ugly. I quit / fired, whatever you want to call. And again, it just kind of happened. Me and my good friend and business partner, Corey Thompson, we've worked together pretty much our entire careers on and off through different tattoo shops. and we were both at the same tattoo shop at this time. One of my best friends, I've known him for a long time, and we'd been talking about it for years, just kind of jokingly, when one day we're going to start our own shop. And it just kind of got to that point where, well, I guess this is it. Like, I'm not moving again. Like, I've worked in every shop in town. I can't work for any of these people. And we just kind of decided, well, I guess this is time. Started looking around, and it kind of just all fell into place right from the beginning. We found a beautiful building, just kind of happened to go right on the market right when we were looking, in one of the heaviest traffic areas in our city. So went and looked at that. It all went smooth. We were in it, and needed a lot of construction. We rented the place. We did 3 weeks worth of construction, and opened up the shop. So within a couple of months, it was one shop to owning my own, like right off the bat. Well, co-owning, like I said, with my business partner Corey Thompson. And yeah, from there it just kind of grew quickly. We acquired a very good crew. Like I said, we both worked with so many people in our city together, and it was a very similar situation. Everybody else was kind of sick of who was running the other shops and how they were being run. So it almost kind of snowballed right from the beginning. As soon as we started the shop, people were like, well, can I come work for you? We really like what you're doing. And so we accumulated a lot of employees right off the bat to where we filled up the shop. Within 3 years, then it just kind of happened with the second shop. Me and Corey both actually used to work in another tattoo shop across the other side of the city, and he kind of just decided he didn't want to be a boss anymore and was closing his doors. So then all of his artists, who I had also worked with in the past, were now getting a hold of me also, looking for jobs. And we were just kind of maxed out. But again, ever since the beginning, we kind of talked about, well, one day maybe it might be nice to open a second location. And it just kind of happened like that. We knew the owner of that shop. We knew he was probably going to be breaking the lease because, like I said, we had worked there years prior. So we kind of just got a hold of him after all his employees were looking for jobs. And we're just like, hey, why don't we just buy you out, buy your equipment? He was all for it. We were all for it. So again, it was just kind of overnight, boom, I guess we got another shop now.
Wow.
We did a lot of construction on that building as well. Luckily, we both have a lot of good friends that are very good contractors, so they all helped us out with the construction. Both of our shops are, beautiful spaces, and that's a lot to do with our friends that have helped us out build them. And yeah, here we are 5 years later, and yeah, we got 2 successful shops going in town now, and everything's going smoothly. 10 employees. Well, 10 tattoo artists and 2 receptionists, one at each one. So, yeah, it kind of grew quickly, and it just kind of fell into place, really. I mean, that's not happened a lot before in my life in any other aspect, and that just it just all went so smoothly.
Yeah.
This was meant to be, I guess. We made it happen, but it all went together well.
The time was right.
The time was right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's been such a cool thing to watch from afar. I've been living in different places the whole time that this started happening, and watching you go through different shops and watching your work develop, and then all of a sudden you're starting your own business, and then all of a sudden it's clear it's becoming successful, and then now you got 2 shops, and our brother is also working for you doing the reception stuff there, and you have all of your artists are friends, or people that have been involved in the industry in their own way, and it's a really cool thing because, like I said, like a lot of creative people, a lot of artists don't have the luxury of making a living off of it,
Right. Yeah, it's a very rare thing to do in our industry, or not even my industry, but just as artists in general. It's very hard to be able to actually make a living off what you do. I mean, there's very few things out there that are, especially like a reliable thing that a lot of people, like a popular thing, I guess, that people make money off of. I mean, tattooing has kind of blown up in the last few years to where it's a multi-million-dollar business. Like it generates so much income.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see that it's starting to become a respected art form. I mean, some of the best, visual artists in the world are also tattoo artists, whether they're painters or whatever else they are. A lot of them are also tattoo artists. Like some of the most ridiculous artists you'll ever see in this world are also tattoo.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very cool that it's becoming a really respected art form.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It makes sense that you would do that for obviously for financial reasons, but also it's a really cool thing to be able to give somebody a piece of art that is on their body for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's an honor a lot of times. Yeah, when people come to you and want me to put my mark on you for the rest of your life, it's like, you realize that this is permanent. Like, but it's flattering though, and you kind of take advantage of it now that I've been doing it for a while. But yeah, at first especially, it's like, wow, you look at it like that dude's gonna have that thing for the rest of his life on him. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna remember this experience no matter what. Like, even my early ones that weren't the best tattoo, a lot of my friends and family look at it and be like, I remember that. I remember when he was doing that. Like,
oh yeah, we don't forget.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing to see the story of it, and I think it's interesting to see it. Being a business owner is its own art. I feel to be somebody who is involved in that aspect of things where you have to be accountable for all the money that comes in. You're basically accountable for all your artists and for their livelihoods and keeping the doors open, keeping the lights on and all that. And I wonder if how that's been for you as an artist. Like, how does owning and operating a business from a creative perspective translate for you? Like, how's that look?
Oh, it's definitely a whole nother animal for sure. It's a whole nother, on top of 5 days a week tattooing, a whole nother, just as much time into that part of it as it is in tattooing a lot of times. Luckily, like I said, I have a business partner in it, so he can, help me out with the load for sure. We kind of share the work.
Yeah.
And then also we have, like I said, our other younger brother is a receptionist at our one shop, and then I have another receptionist named Carrie they're both phenomenal, so they help me a lot with the paperwork and the day-to-day and stuff like that. Because, and it's all grown, and like I said, it's grown fast. It didn't start like that. I only got to worry about a power bill and rent, and then after that, you're worried about this, you're worried about that, you're worried about this, you're worried about that. So it definitely takes up a lot of time, but I also enjoy that aspect of it, really. I enjoy the art form of it. I'll always be an artist, but I also definitely consider myself a businessman as well. I enjoy that part of it for sure. I like the data, like dealing with all that stuff and being the boss almost, I guess. Sometimes it's definitely beyond frustrating, but it's worth it to me. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a heavy load for sure. I can only imagine that keeping it all together while also still perfecting your craft and taking care of your family, which you're about to have a kid yourself, and
I am, yep.
Yeah, all that.
2 months. Yeah.
It's a wild world. Yeah, exactly. But it's really cool to see, man. I wonder if I always like to ask people, if you had like a little nugget of wisdom that you could share that would kind of encapsulate all you've learned as an artist and as a business owner, whatever it would be, something that you would be like, if somebody was curious into that line of work or in that lifestyle, like if you could impart some wisdom that would help people along the way.
Pretty much only thing I would say, and I've said it a lot of times before, and I feel like it's one of the main reasons that I am where I am right now, is that if you're passionate about it, if it makes you happy, nothing else matters, and you have to take a chance. Like, I took so many chances in the doing of this. Both times, both shops, I drained every penny I had into it. Like, I was broke. I was eating junior bacon sandwiches from Wendy's like every day, like if I could afford that, just because I had no money to put everything into it. But if you're passionate about it, if you know that this is what you love and what you want to do, and you have a goal and a path, you have to take a chance, or you'll never get ahead at anything. Like in life in general, that's the way I feel about it. I put it all on the table, and if you're passionate about it, not every venture will work out, but if you have the drive, like it's worth taking the chance to do, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. I think that it's the scariest possible step to take in any kind of endeavor, just to actually jump in.
It depends on the kind of people you are. Everybody's different. So it's a lot harder for some people to take those chances than other people. So
yeah.
I guess I've always been a little bit more of a risk taker. So a little bit easier, but still it was a big step. And that's for some people, it's almost an unattainable goal to be able to do something like that. They can't take that risk like that.
Yeah.
For for various reasons. You know, some people have families and kids and everything like that, but if you know you're passionate about anything, you gotta go for it. You gotta put everything you got into it.
Yeah. Well,
it's not worth doing it.
That's the thing. It's inspiring to see when people do that, go all in, you know, all the chips in, like, and just dive right in and come out with something to show for it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, to obviously, like, failure is to be expected at least once or twice in what you're doing, but it's really nice to see. And I use you as an example for people all the time. I'm like, I don't really know a whole lot of artists and creative people who make a living fully off of what they do, but you're one of the few, you know. And it's a cool thing to be able to, you know, report on. Like, oh yeah, I actually do know somebody who does this.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I mean, anyone can do it really with the right amount of drive. Like most people are capable of anything, like as long as you want to and have the drive to do so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, it's
the most important thing.
For sure. It's a really great thing to be able to do, and I appreciate you've always been an inspiration in that way with your art for me and for a lot of people in our community and friends and stuff like that, you know, in the beginning everyone was like, you're insane. Like, you're crazy.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah. You're not going to make money off of this. You're not going to be a professional tattoo artist. Come on, dude. No way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just, like I said before, it just wasn't as respected back then or taken as seriously as a job. It's like, it's not that, even, I mean, some people I'm sure were like, oh, you're never going to be good enough, I'm sure. But, like, a lot of it was just, that's not a real job. Like, that's not really something that you could do for a living. Like, go back to work at the shop that you've always worked at. Like,
yeah.
It's I don't know. I knew where it was going. I felt like I saw like the course it was taking, and I knew that I loved it. I mean, I always loved drawing, and the first time I picked up that tattoo machine, I felt like I was doing something. Like, I felt like I was actually like accomplishing something that I was happy for accomplishing, not just doing a task. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I knew that was it. Like, well, looks like I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah. Well, that's what it takes to have that kind of dedication where it's like, this is it for me, and to know that in who you are and what you do, and to feel confident in it. I think that's huge.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be confident in it, and that comes, I mean, you build that confidence. Like I said, I mean, at first, you get a false sense of confidence at first just because you think you're going to be good at something just because you've been drawing your whole life, and then you kind of get kicked in the face with reality.
Yeah.
And you got to build that confidence back up, especially when you start working with other artists and start getting into more legit shops, and you see how good people really are at this, and you're like, wow, I suck.
Reality check.
It's a good, like, check. Like, you're like, okay, well, looks like I got to keep progressing. Like,
yeah. Well, can you give a word to practice, you know, for people, especially tattoo artists, but for artists of all sorts, you know, it's like a lot of people want to jump into things, and like you said, you got to just jump in and go for it and follow your dreams and stuff, but do you have, or at least did you when you were starting, did you have like a regimen for practice or something that kind of kept you going?
Not really a regiment for practice. I really liked it, so I wanted to do, you know, I had that passion for it. I wanted to do it as much as possible. And the tattooing, which was nice having you guys and a lot of our other friends, I had no shortage of guinea pigs a lot of times to get a bad tattoo. So I was able to practice and keep going at it. Once I started working with other people in actual shops, then I got more into forms of practicing and trying to make sure I painted and drew just to kind of keep progressing. And, you know, now it's to the point where I definitely don't paint and stuff as much as I used to, and I would like to get back to that. But right now, it's, you know, life happened, and it's just stuff got crazy. Eventually, I will hope to slow back down like that and be able to paint and create my own artwork more so. But I still, you know, I get to keep sharp because I tattoo constantly all week long, so that definitely helps me keep sharp for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at first, yeah, you definitely need a lot of practice to work on line drawings and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of it, you know, some people that are looking at it from the outside would be like, oh, well, you're not doing anything as tracing, like, because it has a lot to do with when you first start tattooing, tracing over a stencil or something like that. So when you first start tattooing, you're doing a lot of traditional, like, real simple tracing work, just to build that really hand and wrist strength for one, and just to be able to get that consistency of a line or a circle or something like that, because you're going to be doing it so often. Like, just because, you draw or paint every once in a while, it's not the same as doing it 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. Like, it's taxing, it's tiring, and you kind of learn that as you go. But at first, you got to start somewhere. You got to learn how to start from point A to point B and make a straight line and make a circle and an arc, and it's all part of it. It's all just, like I said, little bits and pieces that you pick up from techniques and other people along the way and incorporate it into your own style.
Yeah. Was there a lot of geometry in it when you were starting? Like, did you learn shapes and, things like that, or was it more just like images?
More images when I started. When I started, it was still kind of right towards the end of like the biker, like barbed wire fences and crosses and praying hands and stuff like that. Like, my first actual street shop I worked in was like straight in the hood, like worst part of town, like just doing names and barbed wire, and corny, like not good roses, like corny ones, stuff like that. So, but it was good practice as well. Like, as any kind of practice like that is definitely going to help. Even if especially flash work like that, where you can actually just kind of build your chops up and just really practice and learn how to put in a line and put in a shade before you really try to start creating your own custom artwork when you don't even know how to walk yet. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. I don't even know if we've mentioned the name of your shop yet.
No, I don't think we have. We probably should say that.
Probably should.
Yeah, it's a Wayward Tattoo Studio in Erie, Pennsylvania. We have 2 locations, one on Peach Street and one on 12th Street. If you're familiar with Erie, Pennsylvania, and you out there.
Someone will hear it for sure. Hopefully some locals will listen. That's awesome.
Yeah, Wayward Tattoo Studio is the name of the shop, which is also, that had some meaning as well with, like how I said, we, both me and my partner kind of were ditched, left, fired, whatever you want to call it. It was really ugly, and there was I couldn't work for anyone else in town, and I had no idea where I was going. So we were just kind of wayward in the breeze, just like, all right, well, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of happened, and that was just like, well, I guess that's the name. And it just kind of stuck.
Yeah, it's a great name. I think it's really awesome, and lots of people like it, and it's certainly a whole lot better than a lot of tattoo shop names out there.
Oh yeah, I've heard some bad ones for sure.
What's your favorite bad tattoo shop name?
Oh, I don't even know if I should be saying this because they're local, but there's one up the street called Big Babies. That one's really good.
Big Babies, huh? Awesome.
That's a really interesting one. There also was another one. I actually got quite a few local because there was one that doesn't exist anymore here in Erie. It was called Shady Shadows.
What?
So that sounds like a really promising name for a tattoo shop.
Shady Shadows. I love it. Yeah, there's you can go deep with these names. There's some interesting ones around Asheville area that I won't name out either, but yeah, it's a world of its own for sure.
Right.
Well, cool, man. We're getting down there on time, and I don't want to keep you too long. Can you maybe direct people to a website or anything like that, or just Facebook or?
Yeah, we have we're on Instagram, Facebook, all under just Wayward Tattoo Studio, and you can also visit our website at www.waywardtattoostudio.com. We also, if you go to any one of those links, the Instagram, the Facebook, the website, you can also link off to all of our individual artists' profiles as well.
Awesome. Cool.
Because we do have 10 artists now between the 2 shops, so lots of different varieties of styles to check out.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have I always put links up for the podcast interviews, so people can go back there and just click on the links right out of that. But I like it to be said on the podcast, just in case people are too lazy to go check out the links. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. It's super exciting stuff to see the progression of it all, and the success of it. It's like I said, it's inspiring.
Well, thank you. No problem. Thank you for having me on here. It was fun.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well, we'll probably talk again soon.
I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Somewhere down the line. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will catch you next time.